Inland Wetlands Commission to order.
You're all set.
Okay. Okay. Well, first of all, it's good to see everybody. And did everybody have a chance? Well, first of all, let's just see. We've got regular members, Paul Yeagood, myself, Lynn Werner, Ken Johnson, Marge Smith,
Ken Dietz.
Ken Dietz. And we have our alternates, Tony Palumbo and Hillary. Where are you, Hillary? I was just looking. There you are, Clifton. And we have Donna Hayes, our land use administrator. Did I get everybody officially?
Looks like it.
Great. Okay, and we have our guests. Welcome. Okay, did everybody have a chance to read the minutes of the January 24th meeting?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Any comment? Great.
Nope.
Any comment?
Nicely done. I make a motion to approve them as written.
Do we have a second?
No, seconded. You mean
Okay,
there's no
have
grammar
one.
errors?
Well, I do have a question on that, and I could be wrong.
Uh-oh.
If you look under 3, 1, 2, 3, fourth paragraph that says Mr. Dietz moved to de-elevate Ms. Clifton to voting status. Is that right? To voting status or from voting status?
Well, should be from, yeah.
It should be from, good point.
From.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will amend my emotion. I will amend my motion to say to approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second
Great.
that.
Ken, are you up? Okay. Paul seconded. Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye or wave.
Aye.
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 Any abstention? Any opposed? Okay, great. All right. So we are on to our first agenda item under new business. And this is the renewal of application 124621F. Nick Yannick for the Preston Mountain Club. And if I read this correct, is Nick here? Yeah, I thought I saw him. Yeah. If I read this correctly, Nick, your permit
Nick, you're
expires.
muted. Nick, you're muted. Unmute yourself, Nick.
Wrong one.
Well, meanwhile, I'll check with Donna. If this is correct, this permit expires on, is it like March 11th? Something like that?
Yes. Yep. I mean, it's really very close. So that's why he's here.
Do you have any idea how much he's done? What happened to Nick? Seriously.
He's here. He turned off his video, but he's still not up there. Okay.
Hang on, we're fixing them. Oh, is that better?
Yes.
Okay, hold on one second. We're at a party.
I'm gonna say, I thought that looked like Dan.
It was. He's my technician. I'm sorry. So you guys had a question? about the permit?
So we were just discussing the fact that your permit expires on March 11th, and that's why you're here. And my question was, other commissioners may have questions, but in just reviewing it, how far have you gotten?
Probably about 3/4 of the way. Mike had a couple of big breakdowns, equipment. We couldn't get parts. Mike hurt his knee, so we pretty much benched him. And we got maybe another month and a half or 2 months, and then we'll be totally done. But we just didn't want to, go past the permit.
Okay. Donna, have you looked at this site at all?
I have not, no.
Okay.
I have a question about it. This is Ken. What is the purpose of is the purpose to get logs? Is the purpose to beautify the area? Is it just to make it more accessible for people? What is the purpose of this project?
It's mostly, it was started out as a habitat cut. And then that's where that tornado went through. and it really made a lot of damage. So that's the hard part. It's not like you're cutting one tree, you got 4 or 5 trees that are hanging on it. It's a dangerous cut, so it's taken a lot more than we thought. It's more of a cleanup now because it really took a substantial hit. But the intent was a habitat cut, and but it's just, the damage is just taking a lot longer to get out of there. So
I see, but I mean, what I'm asking is, what is the land used for? Is it hunting grounds, or do people come through here all at, what is it?
it's mostly hunting. So we do a lot of habitat cuts.
I see. So this is to make it accessible to whoever wants to use it. Is that correct?
Probably 50% of that, yes. But most of it is for, just habitat growth, enhance, more deer, turkeys, and rabbits and everything.
I see. Okay. Mhm. Thank you.
And
Mhm.
and Ken, just so you know, we did approve this particular cut last February.
Yes.
And what we're doing right now is considering an approval for an extension of 1 year. And I think that's what we have to do, right, Donna? We can't extend it for less time.
Right, no, you
Right.
can only extend it for a year.
Okay. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions for Nick
Nope,
on
no.
this?
Nope.
Okay. Then I think we can act. I'm a little concerned about the timing. Again, let's first of all, let's take a motion on the request.
I'll make a
Well-
motion. Go ahead, somebody else.
I was going to make a motion to approve the extension or of application 1246-21F.
But it's a renewal, isn't it? Not an extension?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it is a renewal. Yes, that's renewal of application. Correct. I move so.
Thank you, Ken. Second,
I'll second.
thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, thank you. Okay, there you go, Nick. Good luck.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Have fun.
Happy party.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. 4B, this is another forestry application.
There was so much snow.
Gotta shut it off. She's like, that looked like dance.
All right. Application 1277-22F, Timothy Casey for Hillside North Main, and this is at North Main Street, lots 40.
That's 4 and 5.
Yeah. And I had some questions about the application, Donna. Maybe you can explain. I know that I got and maybe you can share, I don't know, but I got a hard copy of the application. And I had kind of a hard time locating the streams on my hard copy. Maybe your color version shows that, but the streams are not marked.
I have a black and white version, just like you guys do. And this application had actually been approved once before, but the application expired. So they had to come in and start from scratch. This is the project that was starting behind Town Hall and behind the AGA, the IGA.
Oh, right.
I walked this part of it with Jamie Lintner, who was the one who was actually representing the property owner at the time. From what I can understand, they never did the project. So they're coming forward with a new application, but they're also changing the area where they're going to be transporting the logs out of from the woods. Originally, it was going to be on the south side of Town Hall. Now it's going to be on the north side of Town Hall at the intersection of 7 and Cobble Lane. And so I think Jeff Viola is here, and so is Tim Casey. and they can speak to the specifics of the application.
Is this on the hillside?
Yes.
I think we're gonna have to go out and do a site visit.
Yeah.
This is, there's reference to drainage areas, but that's actually, does that include the actual stream that then got ditched through the center of that property? I mean, do those drainage areas go into that, what used to be a stream and is now not? It's now a kind of just a carrying ditch. And then the slopes of this are potentially problematic. I couldn't tell where, I guess where the X's are where the drainage areas are, but I couldn't make out much about those drainage areas and whether or not there's any cutting close to them. So these are just little questions, and I'm not sure which of you representing the application wants to kind of walk us through a little bit, but I know I'd feel better going out and taking a look at the site too. So is that you, Jeff?
I think Tim was trying to say something, but he's muted.
Where is he? I don't even see him. Tim? There he is.
And Johnson has a question.
Sure.
Wait.
Oh.
Tim Casey, you're muted. I just want to make sure you know that. Timothy Casey? Okay, go ahead, Ken. I'm sorry.
My question is the same question that I had for the previous application. What is the purpose? Is the purpose to get wood, logging, improve the land, or both? Or what is the purpose of this operation?
So it's a forestry thinning, basically removal of some undesired species as well as removal of desired species, and basically silviculturally improve the stand.
I see.
Is the idea.
I see. And what do you do? Sell the wood that you cut?
We actually are the primary user. We actually produce lumber out of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering what the object, of course, also is to make the land so that we can grow new wood on it.
Yeah, it's quite a productive piece of land, and there's quite a bit of material in there that's over mature, actually. So the idea is to remove, the over mature wood and put more light on the forest floor to allow new seedlings to grow.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
Can you all hear me now?
We hear you now.
Yes.
Yes,
Can I address the crossings there were two crossings that were involved? That was basically in the original application that we made in 2018. The intent was to make the primary haul out down behind the town hall. We have since reevaluated the wisdom of that and decided that's probably the more efficient route, but not necessarily the most effective route. We have therefore determined to take it out of the north end of the property, as Don has said, by Cobble Lane and Route 7, where there is existing road that crosses over one crossing that's marked with an X up there, over an existing bridge and culvert. We figured that was much more better for the property to do it that way than to come down behind the town hall and out through those two crossings. So the only reason I really left the south crossings in the application was because they were approved the first time. For all intents and purposes, we're going to try to forego that altogether and just take the stuff out of the north.
So we can take a look at both of those crossings, all three of those crossings, but you're saying you could remove those two crossings.
I think, Jeff, don't you think so?
Yeah, we're basically, this is much more simplistic. It's actually a little more difficult for us to do because it's a much further distance. The whole idea of going out behind the town hall was, even though we had those crossings, we needed to create crossings and basically use bridges or some sort of device to get across those. But it's a shorter distance. This distance is a lot further across the expanse of the property, but we're eliminating those crossings. We're eliminating the visibility of the project, which a lot of it would be if we went out to the south. This way, it's all staying within the landowner's property and pretty much their view shed. So it would be difficult to really see any change, from any of the town areas. And like I said, it's a little bit more difficult for us and more technical because it's a longer distance to remove the material. But, I thought it was as Tim said, a much more effective way of doing it, and less risk for less crossings, less risk, and it's a little more distance, but the way the weather patterns have been, I think it's the smarter way to go.
So have you marked on this, all of this? So these drainage areas that you're talking about, are they intermittent water courses?
Yes.
And where you're proposing to come out, is that a year-round stream?
No,
Or is that
that's also
intermittent?
intermittent.
Okay.
That's existing, actually. It's bridged right now, which, we would.
Right. So
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So my question really has to do with the location of wetlands and water courses on the property, which I cannot tell from this map, and whether or not you're cutting near any streams or wetlands on the property.
No,
So-
no in both cases.
Okay.
The idea between, as I said, extracting to the north was to make this much simpler, but not easy
No.
for us, I
Yeah.
guess.
No, I get that. I get that. I just can't see where the streams are on this map.
Right,
And
so we have no reason to cut near those streams now that we're not crossing them, those streams on the south side.
Are there any other streams on the property that don't show up on this map? That's really
No.
part of what I'm
No.
asking.
No.
Okay. I'm going to shut up and see what other questions the commission has, or Donna.
In the process of taking out the marketable lumber, are you also going to be taking out diseased or damaged trees?
Yeah, there's specifically quite a few ash trees in the project that they're actually already, they've gone by. They've been killed by the emerald ash borer, but we will be removing them regardless, because they're already dead and they're just they're actually a hazard to us, cutting other trees near them and things like that. So they have to be cut for safety, but we'll take them out for firewood or something like that, just to utilize the material as best we can.
Yep.
Can ash tree be used, dead ash trees, can it be used for lumber?
It really depends on when it actually was killed and how long that period has been. It's difficult until you actually get there. We try and, sometimes it surprises you, the tree doesn't look very good, but it can be utilized. But the biggest issue is we export some of the logs, but we try and produce as much lumber as we can. So that makes it easier for us because we sterilize everything in a kiln before it's sold. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully some of it will be able to be utilized as lumber.
Is that ash lumber, is that good wood for building?
It's got a grain structure much like oak, so it's typically used, in solid hardwood products, like, furniture and moldings and things like that.
You see it a lot in flooring as well, Ken.
Yeah.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Okay. Any other commissioners, or Hillary or Anthony, do you have any questions on this? Would you like to go out and I'd like to go out and take a look at it, maybe with you, Donna.
Okay,
And would anybody else like to go?
I would like to
Hillary?
go.
I'll go.
Paul?
Well, what, yeah, I can go, but I have to know about when.
I'll do a doodle poll.
Good,
And
Thank
okay.
you.
see what we got, look to see out as far as the weather is concerned. My main concern is the drawing that I'm looking at shows a lot of map block and lots. But my
Yeah.
question is, will you be working on every single one of those map block and lots? Or is this just gonna be 1042.5, 1042.4 with a takeout of 942.5?
Just working on 1042.4 and 1042.5.
You're not doing anything on 1942.43 where the other original crossings were?
There's no harvest. No, those, the only reason that they're even listed is because that was the original haul out route.
Okay, so there's no harvest on that one. And then there's no harvest or there's no landing at 442.1?
442.1. That was the original landing. We're not going to be using that now.
Okay, and then 1942.8, which is, that's the one, I think that's behind the IGA, I think.
That is, the 1942.8 is behind the IGA, and we will no longer, there's no harvest on that, and we're not going to be using that any longer either.
So if I can get a revised one of these maps that just shows where you're going to be doing the work, it would be a little bit less confusing, I think, for everybody.
Okay, let me just ask one question. Jeffrey, are we totally going to forego? See, I left that in there as an option. If Jeff, if we're not going to use it at all, then I can fix the map and take all that out.
Part of the reason we decided to include the north exit was to eliminate those crossings in the hopes that we could get some of this project done in the cold weather this winter season. There's quite a bit of what we call perishable woods on the project, maples, ash, lighter colored woods that really need to be cut in the cooler months of the year. Believe it or not, we can't do that, some of those species in the summer, because they're prone to staining very quickly, which basically makes it useless for lumber or the type of lumber that we produce. So if we are going to extend this probably to a site walk into another meeting, I mean, that's, for us, it's another option to keep on the table. I don't know if it, I thought by going out to the north, it would simplify this process, honestly, but I'm not sure if we're gonna miss the mark this winter season. I don't know if you want to forego that, Tim, or not. I mean, it's because it is another option, and it was how the job was originally laid out.
Well, we wouldn't be able to approve it at tonight's meeting anyway. We would have to, by state statute, approve it at the next regular meeting.
Okay.
So we're gonna miss that window anyway, regardless of a site visit.
Right, okay. Well, it's still another option going out to the south. It's not my preferred option. But I don't know if it's already on the application. And by all means,
I would just as soon leave it in there.
that's what I was thinking, just for another option. Like I said, it's not my preferred route. But,
And
All right,
but
we're gonna have
it's
to take a
also,
look at
it's
those
the
wetland
route-
crossings.
it's the
then.
route that's also been approved already.
It doesn't matter. We're starting over and we're gonna take a look at it based on the existing, conditions of the property and impacts of the wetland now.
Okay.
And so we will take a look at those two X marks the spots, as well as the northern crossing when we're out there. Other than those areas, you're saying there are no other intermittent water courses on the property, right?
right.
Okay.
Okay, so can you modify this map and put down version or preferred A and then preferred B? So that we have an idea of what your preferences are? Or do you just want to have me just consider this the application? I'm trying not to muddy the waters, and I just want to make sure that you're doing what you want
Yeah,
to
no,
do.
I would say what you have is what we want to present, and we can go over all those routes on the site walk, and I can show you why we want to do what we want to do and go out to the north, even though leaving the south is an option, in good conditions, it's a viable alternative by all means, and it's a lot shorter distance to bring the wood out that way, but I think I would leave it in the application because
Okay.
it's already there.
I agree.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so Donna's gonna send out a doodle poll, and we will take a site walk. And we'll check out the wetland crossings and look at the trees. Are the trees marked?
Yes,
Okay. And we'll try to do that soon, and then we'll take this up at the next regular meeting.
okay.
Okay.
Tim, are you set?
Yeah, I'm set.
All right, so,
Thank you.
All right, I'll make a motion to table application 1277-22F till the next regular meeting.
Seconded.
okay. Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Say
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Anybody abstaining? Okay, great. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
How will somebody be in touch with us about the site visit, when that's going to be?
Yes, Donna's gonna send out a doodle poll. She'll include you in that. Well, she'll probably start with you, actually, to find out when you're available, and then we'll go from there.
Let's go
All
right
right, Donna?
now.
Yes, that's right.
All right.
Bye, Hillary. Thank you.
Bye, Hillary.
Okay, so moving on to 1278-22F, Jamie Lintner for Kent School Corp.
So this is another application that had originally been approved, and then it expired. So we're back here to do another application, another permit.
Yeah, and again, this was an application that I could not locate on the map. Any of the wetlands, where the vernal pool is, where the intermittent water course is.
There are none on this application.
So this stated in the application, there was a vernal pool and an intermittent water course.
Where did I didn't read that.
So can I
Go ahead,
start?
Jamie.
Or yeah, I'd
Jamie?
love to start. Yeah. So first off, I think we set a record for having 3 timber related questions or topics on a wetlands meeting. I don't think I've ever seen that before in town. It might even be 3 a year would be a lot. Secondly, there's a common theme about these permits being lapsed or now having to start fresh because I did the other one as well. I'll plead ignorance because I had no idea that permit was only good for a year. I thought it was the same as the duration of a wetlands permit, which made sense to me because it's the Wetlands Commission giving that permit. I didn't realize it was a year. So that's my fault. The reason why these lapsed, if I had known, I would have been doing what Nick had done earlier and applied for extra ones or extensions. So that's on me. And I didn't know. Secondly, before I get into the details on this one as well, my biggest boundary is with Macedonia State Park. In June of 2019, I started working with the state to establish that boundary. Until October of 2020, did I get confirmation from the state that I can do this work. So again, even though I didn't know it was only a year permit, I couldn't have done this work anyway. I wanted to have my biggest neighbor, which is also a state park, be kind of happy with that. So after I got that okay in in October of 2021, I then moved forward with getting my road encroachment permit from DOT, which I got at the end of December of this past year. At which time I decided we could go do the work. It was cold, it's winter time, let's go do the work. Which leads me to where I am, I think like on Tuesday when I got notified that those permits were only good for a year. So I hustled up, I talked to Don, I got this thing back in, which is basically the same thing we put in before, with just some updates on timing and that sort of thing. So it's the same thing I did before. I think I can remember exactly when the question you had when we first presented this was on the wetland area, which is the little stream on the very western border between the property and Kent Land Trust. You asked about doing any work in the setbacks. I said, I'll have to double check when we go back out there for the next meeting. I went back out and we will not, and I said, and it's on the minutes that we won't be working within 75 feet of the high water mark. So as far as that's concerned, I am not working on the wetlands on the western side. And the operational area is not near the vernal pool as per my agreement or our kind of boundary talk with the state of Connecticut. So for all intensive purposes, this is a timber permit. It is not a wetland permit.
Okay, so in the timber permit, we still consider water, wet water.
No, sure, but there's no, I'm not impacting, there should not be any impacts to a wetland. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so we want to make sure that the application says that you will not be within 75 feet of that intermittent stream, and you're not anywhere near that vernal pool. What do you mean by that? You're like hundreds of feet away from that vernal pool?
So the state and I came to an agreement on an agreed boundary, which kind of contains a buffer on the outside, an area between perceived boundary and a buffer, and that's within that buffer area. So it's not going to be an operational area. Again, I'm not going to bore you all with how terrible it was to work with the state to do all this for 2 years, but trust me, there's been a lot of work to get it all squared away.
Okay.
And I thought I had all my ducks in a row and finally could ready to go do something. And I just didn't realize it was only a year.
Okay, we'll just take it from this point going forward. So, okay. I don't remember I don't think we did. Did we walk this property, Donna?
No, we did not.
No, I don't think so.
I think because Marge, I think a couple of you were really familiar with the property. I might be getting this confused with another.
Yeah, no,
application.
I know where it is, but I've not been up there.
So is this really steep slope?
As far as an
then
operation
also?
goes, it's a pretty standard operation. I mean, there's nothing, it's just all downhill to the road. I mean, there's nothing really crazy
Right.
going on there.
Yeah. Is it steep there?
There are sections at the very beginning that on
I
the
yeah.
eastern side that are extremely steep, but there's really not any operations going to happen on that really steep section there. As you get further up into the property, and when I say up, I guess northeast, it kind of levels off and shelves off. It's not quite as bad. But if you're going to walk directly from the boundary from Kent, you'd probably get a little winded walking up the very first 1,000 feet.
Yeah,
Is this the property that you just cut on the road on and has a new excavator there?
Exactly, that's the one.
Nice. You're doing a neat
and you're
job.
gonna put in the water bars.
Yeah, so once I got the road permit, like 2 weeks later, we put the opening in and basically get ready to go. I have equipment there and we kind of started opening the road up, and that's when got the call. Actually, Tim had said, "Hey, I'm just letting you know that that permit you did for me a couple years ago isn't good anymore." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And so now I'm just kind of stopped everything, and here we are. I don't want to, like, I'm not trying to sneak around or get away with anything. I honestly had no idea what it was like for a year. So I just want to, I want to get it all leveled up and so we can go to work. But nothing's changed from, when we approved it last time, except for that I have all my necessary permits from the state and to do it.
Okay. All right. So you're gonna be doing the erosion control and the water bar installation, or is that already in?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That'll all be done. I mean, that's why there's already kind of excavator on site. It's a small excavator we use at the landing to kind of move logs around, but it also doubles if we need to put water bars in. I mean, you couldn't put anything now because it's still pretty cold, but yeah, no, at the end it'll all be water bar seated. I mean, that's just standard operation. That's just how we operate.
Okay. Anybody got any other questions?
No, this looks like a pretty straightforward operation.
Yep.
Okay, so Jamie, again, we have to, by statute, put this on to our next regular meeting agenda. But it sounds like the commission doesn't have any questions. If anything comes up between now and then, Donna will reach out to you. But I
Two
don't
things on that.
anticipate
Okay, two quick questions on that. Even though there's no wetlands, the state statute says I have to wait till the next meeting.
I think so. Donna, that's correct, right? If there's
Because
no
in New-
wetlands on the site.
And never have to do that in New Milford ever. It's just weird. It's odd to me. I don't understand that.
Donna?
I'm not sure. I do have my regs. Let me see if I can find something.
Hang on, yeah.
So like when I go to New Milford, I put it all in, I give it to Jim Furlow, and then I don't even go to the meeting. It's just approved. You know? I've done in other towns too, where it's acted upon at the same time. Town of Sharon will do it as well.
For the
I mean,
non-wetland.
I can understand if I had an wetlands impact.
Yeah.
That part I
point.
get, but I don't think if it's not, I didn't think so. I didn't think so.
That's a good question, yeah. So Donna,
And I wouldn't make a big stink of it. Otherwise, my guys there and we're there. And again, to be honest, a lot of this stuff was out of my hands. So I'm extremely frustrated, not at you, but for how long it took me to get here. And, for how wet it was in the fall, and this is actually operational ground. And my guy that's helping me work is, anyway, it's been hard. It's been hard to make a living in this business with the last couple of years here. So hopefully all my stuff's in line and we could go to work as I'm hoping.
it's just a matter of what the statute lets us do.
Yeah, I'd like to hear what it.
I think you're right. Well, I seem to remember that is the case for straightforward forestry applications, but because it's through our Wetlands Commission, I'm just not certain if we have to operate under the same statutes that govern the Wetlands Commission.
So again, I'll verify and Donna talk to or talk to New Milford about it. I'll make that connection because I'd be curious to see why they don't do it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it says the commission shall reject, disapprove, or approve a complete application within 65 days of its receipt. provided that the applicant may consent to one or more extensions of time, provided that the total of all such time extensions shall not exceed 65. It doesn't really say
Read that
that you
again.
need, that the commission shall reject, disapprove, or approve a complete application within 65 days of its receipt, provided that the applicant may consent to one or more extensions of time, provided that the total of all such extensions. In other words, you need to approve it within 65 days, but it's not saying that you need to carry it over to another meeting.
Right, that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, and if there is no wetlands that are being impacted, here
there's
again,
no
it sounds like
Yeah.
it's straight up and,
I think so.
yeah.
Do you have the reg that puts that requirement on us for a wetland handy that we can just verify the scope of that doesn't extend?
That's
Because
what I'm
otherwise
reading.
it sounds like it's fine. Otherwise it sounds fine.
Yeah, what I'm reading are the regulations for forestry operation that we have. That it
And I
should be
think-
valid for a year.
I think my recollection when forestry got put in our laps, it's a separate set of regulations. It's not
That's right.
not part of the wetlands regulations.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay.
So I think, and so does that affect the previous two that we just,
No, because they're
Right.
going to be doing crossings there.
that's right, okay. No, I think if it's straight up just a harvest, I don't think we have to wait.
Okay. I think you're right. The
Thanks,
wetland
Jamie.
regs- Well, the forestry regs were established by state statute under a different law, not the Inland Wetlands
Right.
Act,
Right,
and then they were delegated to us.
Right.
right.
So that makes sense. Okay. In that
Motion or a
case,
vote?
I think we need a motion and a vote.
I'll make a motion to approve application 1278-22F as presented.
I'll second.
Second? Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstention? Okay. Thank you. And good luck. And it's for 1 year. So
Okay.
let us know before.
So we're all set.
before-
Actually, I
Go ahead.
His picture's frozen. I think there's issues
Yeah.
there.
His
I'm
picture's
sorry,
frozen.
I actually had just lost everybody, so I missed all of that.
Oh, you're on mute now.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I think we just lost him.
Yeah.
Maybe. We lost somebody.
No, Jamie's there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sometimes if
left.
you turn off your video, you can talk, it's easier to speak. So Jamie, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Sort of.
Can you hear us? Okay.
Hmm.
Jamie, assuming that you can hear me, Jamie, I'm just going to reiterate that the commission approved the application tonight as a forestry application straight up with no associated wetland application. I hope you can hear me, and we're going to move on. Okay?
Thank you.
That sounds hopeful. Okay, good. There we go.
I just sent him a private chat that you had approved it and that I will send out a letter with all the information.
Good.
Yeah, and he just chatted that he understood what we said, so that's
Right.
good. All right, thanks, Jamie.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go on to application 127922, John and Jerry Gleason, and John is here. Hi, John. And this is for,
John, you're muted. Can you
application
mute, unmute?
20,
Great,
better?
much better.
22 for the installation of a pool. And again, I had a question on this application map. Seems like a pretty straightforward application, pretty far away from the pond, which is the only wetland in question, right?
Yes.
And I couldn't tell, looks like the distance from the corner of the pool to the pond is 150 feet, but that there are other activities. Are there other activities that come within the setback area for the regulatory area for the wetland?
Yeah,
With-
they'll, do you
I'm
want me
sorry.
to answer, John, or no, do you want to do it?
No, that's fine. I don't understand the question anyways, so. What do you mean by activities? But it's okay, Donna, you know.
Okay, so basically, yes. Yes, because the green line is actually the silt fencing, and on the other side of the silt fencing, which is still within 200 feet of that pond, they're gonna be putting an above-ground propane tank. They're gonna be running trenches from that propane tank, and the pool equipment slab actually to the pool. And then they're gonna
Okay.
be putting in a raised planting bed, a pergola, and a flagstone patio. So that
Okay.
all falls within that 200 feet from the pond.
Okay. And is that a relatively flat area? I can't tell. I can't see the topography on the site plan. I think it's there. I just can't see it. It's really, really faint.
Yeah,
I looked all over for a topo map for this, and I could not find anything that made any sense to me. But it seems like John's house is built kind of on a plateau,
Yeah,
and then there's a slight gradient down
Okay,
towards
so
the
it's not-
pond.
Not steeply sloping.
No.
And it's pretty much lawn.
Yes,
What pond is this we're looking at?
I don't know the name of it. Sorry to
No.
say. I don't know the name.
I don't think it
How
has
big-
one.
How big is the pond?
It's
About
probably
how full?
about a couple, maybe a couple 100 feet long and 100 feet wide, maybe something like that.
Yeah, it looks to be
Uh-huh.
about a half an acre.
Half an acre. Yeah, it's about, yeah, I would say it's about 200 feet long and about 100 feet wide.
Uh-huh.
I mean, other than temporary runoff,
Well, I'm always concerned about backwash from the pool and how much effect it will have on the pond. I mean, where's the
Good question.
backwash going?
So the equipment is on the south corner by the, can you see it on the south corner of the house?
Mhm.
So backwash would have to go out toward the southwest.
Southwest is toward the pond, right?
No, I'm sorry. Is that southwest? It's southeast. South side.
Southeast.
East
Uh-huh.
would be.
That's better.
Due south, maybe. You know, I'm not sure. It's on the house, on the chimney side. The pool equipment's on the chimney side of the house, and it would have to go almost due south, I guess, from there.
Well, the only thing I was thinking, I mean, do you have any provisions to keep backwash from running directly into the pond? I mean, I don't know how much how big is the pool?
20 by 36.
But that's a pretty good sized pool, so you'd have a fair amount of backwash. So I was wondering, I mean, if the backwash is filtered before the water gets to the pond, I mean, that shouldn't be a problem.
Can go to the pond from where the pool equipment is. The grade is due south from the house, or Let's see, I don't know my direction. If I had a compass, if I get a compass on my phone, I could tell you what direction, but I think it's south.
Are we looking at the same map?
It would be toward the propane tanks, basically.
I don't know if I can.
Yes, that's south.
That's south, because you look
Yeah.
at the arrow on the
Yes.
map pointing north.
Good, right. The south is to the bottom of the map.
Okay.
No.
So, yeah.
Well,
No,
it
it's
depends
to
on
the
which
top
way
of
you,
the map.
the top of the map, Ken.
Okay, I see it now. Oh, okay.
So I don't think it could go back to the pond. In it, there's no, I can't imagine it going back to the pond, but.
Well,
Is
that's my
that-
only
is that-
question.
Is that fairly flat there?
Yeah, it's fairly flat on the south side of the house.
Mhm.
You can actually drive past the house and see the pond, and you'll see where the pool is going to be put, because it's going to have to come before planning and zoning for a special permit, because the pool's in front of the house. That's why he has to put all that landscaping in at the requirement of zoning. So that's why there's
Yeah.
a little bit more intensive work that's going to be done within the 200 feet of the pond. So
Yeah,
you'd be able
but
to
that
see
landscaping,
what it is.
that landscaping will help the pond.
Yes.
There.
Yep.
I didn't realize that's why you were doing it, but I liked seeing that in the plan.
It'll be beautiful, I think.
The neighbors requested it too. They didn't want to see me out there, I guess. I don't know.
Well, you didn't hear that from me.
Okay.
Are you getting skinny dipping? I mean, I don't know. Okay. Any other questions on this?
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
So, John, we have to approve this at the next regular meeting? Okay. All right, so. we
I
need
do have a
motion then.
question.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
During the excavation of the pool, is there an area that, well, what's going to be done with the material that's excavated?
We were going to use it to build up that berm for where the raised flower beds are. So we use that
Okay.
as a base because we have to use it.
So is that going to be put pretty much right in place, or does that need to be stored on the property and then?
It'd be put right in place.
Okay,
And the silt fence will be up at that time, so.
okay.
Okay. Good question. Any other questions? From anyone? Okay, so we can take a motion to put this onto the agenda of our next regular meeting, and it sounds like we don't have any other real questions about the application, but if anything comes up in the meantime, Don will be in touch with you prior to that meeting. Okay.
Great.
I'll make a motion to table application 1279-22 to the next regular meeting.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you, Ken. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye or wait.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much,
Thanks so
John.
much. Have a good
Thanks,
night.
John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
All right. Okay. We're gonna move on to old business. Now, is Dan Greenbaum here?
Yes.
Yes, there you are, right in front of me. Okay. Application 1274-22. This is for the 30 Kenmont Road installation of the above ground septic tanks, if you will, and filling in the 2 cesspools. And we did have some questions at the last meeting, and it looked like there was an email in our packets from Dan to Donna that recommended that one of the questions we had to, this was really all around the concept of a potential leak that would make its way into the lake. And we were talking about the need for some kind of regular leak check and inspection, if you will. And it looks like Dan says that the engineer suggested that the tanks be inspected whenever they are pumped, as they can easily be inspected with a mirror when they are empty. Are they gonna be pumped on an annual basis, Dan? I'm trying to remember what you said. I know that they have to be, that the pipes have to be drained, but will the tanks also be pumped?
We're not sure what our usage is gonna be at this point.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure what the deal is with, if the tank, if the stuff in the tanks were to freeze. And if, assuming that would be a problem, then if anything was gonna freeze in the tank and cause any problems, we would certainly have them pumped before it froze.
So how are you gonna know that?
Good question. I don't actually know yet if they need to be pumped annually, or if they can, if there's some, I guess I could just say, to make this all easier, let's just get them pumped annually, right?
Or, yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. If they fill up a quarter, I suppose you could
All
get
right, I'm
them
a little
pumped out.
behind on this. How large are these tanks?
These are two 1,500-gallon tanks, so it's probably a lot more than we're gonna ever need. But I just didn't want to have to get, I just wanted to be efficient in terms of getting them pumped out.
Right. And they go into one tank and then into the next?
Yeah,
When the first one's full. So
Right.
there's a chance that one would sit there full for a while, assuming, that they want to get them pumped at the same time. And the question was, if there was any kind of cracking or leak, that would be a problem for the lake. One of the things that we asked you to do was to check with the manufacturer with regard to this question. I'm certain that they probably know it, and to check with the health department, whoever.
yeah,
you had
Kathy
mentioned.
Weber.
Yeah, as to her recommendation.
Okay, so
Were you-
yeah, yes, I got all that. The state's recommendation and Kathy's was to install the holding tanks versus, trying to install a septic system. There's really no place to do leaching fields in this location. It's all ledge. So yeah, holding tanks were the recommended solution. And these are
Yes.
the recommended holding tanks by the engineer and the strongest type of tank available for this application, as far as I know. The
And were you able to?
Sorry?
Were you able to follow up with her about the question about leaking and freezing?
I've been told it's not a problem by the manufacturer, but I do want to double check with Kathy if she has any knowledge of that. She hasn't mentioned that at all. But I'll double check that with her. I mean, she is still actually in the process of getting the permit from the state. It's a special permit. They're not typically allowed to do the holding tanks, but when her boss from the state, Matt, came out and visited the site, he said, oh yeah, this is a situation where we're gonna have to do some holding tanks, and we're gonna, have an engineer just, site the appropriate tanks in the right place and do it correctly. And everybody seemed on board with that. We combined the properties recently so that there's no issues with having to have an easement from the lower cottage up to the upper cottage. It was easier to combine the properties, so we did that. And we were hoping to start pretty soon, actually. Since we got I guess the only question that I didn't have the answer to, which I didn't realize, was the manufacturer's suggestion of what to do or how to check for leaks, I think is the question.
Yeah, I mean, the real concern is that this stuff will just flow right downstream into the lake. If it's sitting there in the winter and it freezes and then it thaws and no one's there and a crack develops, how likely is that? And then if that's the case, what are we going to do to make sure nothing happens to the lake? I mean, if that's impossible because of the way these are designed, that's one thing. We just don't know. I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
I'd
Paul,
prefer
do you
the
know
tanks
anything about
buried.
these?
They are buried. They say that the minimum is 6 inches underground, but we can try and bury them a bit further.
Are
But
they
I thought-
concrete?
These are high density polyethylene. extremely strong plastic.
Uh-huh.
And they're extremely strong tanks, and the likelihood of them cracking and leaking honestly is pretty minimal. As far as someone not noticing this, I mean, we are a local family. We live, permanently 10 or 12 minutes away from this place, so it's not like we don't notice what's going on up there. There all the time. As far as like how to notice if they're cracking or leaking, I'm assuming we get them pumped annually, we get them inspected by mirror. I'm not really sure what other type of inspection is possible.
Yeah, yep. Paul, are you familiar with these tanks?
I haven't used them. I have seen them. As far as 1,500 gallon tanks may need to be pumped more than just annually. I don't know if they can set up some kind of an alarm system on there when it reaches a certain level, it needs to be pumped.
There is
That
actually,
would be an added layer of protection.
that's in the spec already.
Okay.
That is in the spec?
It's in the plans, I believe, yeah.
Good.
And also, Paul, I don't know if you heard from last week, but this is just a 3 seasonal setup.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I was reading the minutes on that just now.
I was pretty sure based on our usage that we would not be getting these pumped more than once a year. I assume this is something
So maybe
we'll just put in there, but let's just get them pumped once a year so they're empty
Yeah.
over the winter. You want to put
Yeah.
that in the permit, let's do it if that makes everybody happy.
I think it's maybe the safest thing we can do since we don't have.
I agree. I'm
better
all on board.
information.
I'm fully on board with it.
Okay. Any other
Now,
questions?
has this whole system been approved yet by the state?
No, but they said that we reasoned that the wetlands wouldn't necessarily have to be waiting on that because if the state doesn't approve it, we can't build it anyway.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
But all indications are that it will be approved, considering it was their idea.
Did
One
they
can
give you
only
any
hope.
idea when they were going to get back to you?
Hopefully very soon. I mean, this has been going on for a while. We're really hoping to have it functional by, the season. And my excavator is chomping at the bit. He's going to be busy later in the spring, so this is the good time to do it.
I've got a
So,
question. Can we do a conditional approval based on getting an approval from the state?
No.
No. Okay.
And we wouldn't want to because
No,
we
yeah.
want to be able to approve it from a wetland standpoint. If he doesn't get the permit from the state, our permit is null and void. I mean, our
It's
permit doesn't
basically,
matter.
you are getting a conditional approval in a way.
Right. Right. Does that make sense, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions? So the way it stands, the application is simply what we're looking at with the additional information that Dan provided and the commitment that there'll be a annual pumping and inspection of the tanks, correct? Okay.
Do you want to put a time period for that annual pumping? Before the temperature reaches freezing, at the end of the summer season, I mean, because he could decide to try to get it pumped in February and he would be in compliance with the permit. So
Right.
I'm wondering if you don't want to make it
Um,
a little bit more specific on the time frame. That's all. This way you get it pumped or looked at, prior to the
Winter.
How about you just say the end of the year, make it like, December 31st, end of the year,
because you've got freezing before then.
the
So,
calendar year. I'm not gonna wait till it freezes, but
Right.
I'm just saying that might just make it easy, just to say by the end of the calendar year it has to be done.
When are you gonna
Well, by-
stop using the property?
That was my question.
Yeah,
We get into like October sometimes.
So if we were to say something like, prior to Thanksgiving or, by December 1st,
If you like, sure.
Yeah, December 1st might be better. I don't know.
Okay.
I like December 1st.
December 1st it is.
okay.
One other thing I think I'd like to see in the wording is that, December 1st sounds great. This way you're usually ahead of any frost or freezing, but it should be pumped annually or as needed in case it does need to be done more frequently.
Um,
How about the other way around? Pumped as needed, but at least annually?
Yes, I was gonna say at least. Put the
Okay.
words at least in there.
as
Not just-
needed,
It's not,
say that again, at least as,
no, as.
To be pumped as
and
needed at least
and-
once annually.
And at least annually. But the key here is not just the pumping, although that's important. That is when you would look for leaks, right, Dan?
That's when they would inspect the tank with a mirror when it's empty. That's really the best way to inspect it, I think. I mean, you can't look at the outside of it, it's underground. So,
Okay.
Here's one other question you might want to talk about with the installer. I don't know how that affects, what we're doing here, but just that if the tank is empty during the winter, is there enough drainage around the tank that if water begins to collect around the tank, that it won't float it up out of the ground, push it up out of the ground?
yeah, these are going to be sitting kind of on ledge. We're going to have to actually hammer into the rock to get them down where they need to be. So
Yep.
it's not going to be a lot of water pressure pushing up around them.
Okay.
are they gonna be pinned to the ledge?
No, they said they could, in that location, get the ledge flat enough that wouldn't be required. There's enough of a flat spot there. That was a question, but the engineer said that wasn't going to be required for that location.
Okay.
So rainwater runs away from the tank, not into it.
I would assume it would go right past it. It's on a slope.
Right. Okay, so we need a motion. Do we have one kind of worked out, Donna?
Wait a second, I forgot something. Sorry to mention, there was a addition of a propane tank that we want to put in above ground, 100-gallon propane tank. And it was just going to be next to the lower cottage. I gave Donna a map with the propane tank indicated.
Yeah, that was in the file.
Yeah. Okay, so who wants to make a motion to approve this application?
This is Ken
with the-
Johnson.
With the
And-
require,
Wait, Ken, hang on. Lynn's trying to make a state of motion.
Okay,
trying to figure it out, with the requirement that the tanks be pumped as needed and at least annually, and leak checked prior to December, for no later than December 1. Is that right, Donna?
Yep, approve the application with the requirement that the tanks be pumped as needed
And at least annually.
and at least annually by
And
December.
And
And-
leak checked by no later than December 1st, or by December 1st. That's good. Does that capture what we talked about? And if
Sounds
you wanna
like
make
it.
that.
Yeah, Dan, you said that you had an engineer working with you on this?
Yes, his name is Ron Wolf.
Yeah, has he given you a detailed set of plans on what's exactly going to be happen there?
The detailed set, yeah, there is I thought that was included with the file from.
Okay,
last
that's
time.
what I was gonna ask, because I didn't see them, like I said, I wasn't at
Yeah.
last month's meeting, so.
That's right, you weren't at the last meeting.
Yeah, there's a pretty, we paid him a couple of grand. He gave us a nice set of plans, so.
No, I was just asking because I wanted to make sure that the plans were part of the file.
Yes, they
Yeah.
are. And they would be in the, what month are we in? February, in the January meeting folder. If you
Okay,
wanted
so
to see them,
someone-
Paul.
Yeah, it specs the tanks, location.
Want to look at them before, oh my goodness, do you want to look at them before?
No.
Okay, so we need someone to make the motion and second it.
You also need to add in that the application includes the above ground LP tank.
I thought we added that in at the last regular meeting, we just needed to show it on the site plan.
Okay, cool. You're right.
Yeah.
I move that we approve application number 1274-22 to be approved.
But we need the language that Lynn put in there.
Yes, with all that language.
Okay, we need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Paul. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Okay, Ken, did you vote? Ken Dietz?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I muted myself. Yes, I was
Okay.
up in favor of approving it.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Dan. This is it's kind of a new concept for most of us, so.
Yeah,
Gonna wrap
thanks.
our heads
It's new for me. It's new for Kathy Weber. She said there's no way this has never happened. And the state guy showed up and he said, yeah, this is what you're gonna do. And it's like, oh, okay then.
Well, I wish you luck with the state process.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
And I'll be back soon. I'm gonna try to apply for a permit to do some clearing along a water course along just blanking on the name of the road right now. Anderson Mountain Road, just Anderson Road, where it comes down. Property owner name is Brian McNamara, and they've asked me to approach wetlands about, it's essentially a lot of invasive solid multiflora and a bit of Russian olive and a lot of barberry in there. And so anyway, I don't want to take your time up and ask you like, so what do you want to see? But I just wanted to give you a heads up that.
So Donna can help you. Donna can help you with that. But just to give you a heads up, we typically, when we look at removal of vegetation, we want to see a replanting plan. So just think about that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, Dan.
Okay, thanks for your help.
Thanks, Dan.
Bye.
Thanks.
Okay. Is Brian Neff still on? Yes, he is. All right. So we're going to move on to application 127522. Thank you, Brian.
Aye.
Did you have fun tonight?
A little bit of a wait, but it's okay.
He's used to it.
Yeah, that's true.
Doesn't mean it's a good
All
thing.
right. And it seems like all of our questions on this were answered, right?
I think
Is that
so.
right?
Yeah, he submitted a new site plan that shows the additional silt fencing that Hillary had mentioned.
Oh,
Right.
that's right.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
I added that to the silt fence, extended the silt fence kind of beyond the current walkway area, just to kind of cover all the bases in terms of coverage on silt fence.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the only change, was just extending that silt fence.
All right. Okay, so thank you. So with that, yeah, I think we can, unless there are any other questions outstanding.
No.
I think we can take a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve application 1275-22.
Seconded.
Thanks, Ken. Any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed or opposed? Abstention? Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Hey, thanks
For your
very much.
patience.
Have a good evening.
You
You
too.
too.
We'll see you next
Come on,
month,
Brian.
Brian.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Bye. I think
Bye.
Dan Green, bye. Dan Greenbaum is still on, I think. I hope he knows that. Okay, then we have monthly financials under written communications, and nothing seemed outstanding to me. Donna, is there anything we ought to be aware of?
No, nothing at all. We are at 74% of our budget, which at this time of the year, we really only should be at about 50% because we're halfway through the year. But we're at a little bit over 74, and that doesn't include the money that came in for February. I haven't closed the month yet, so we're doing good. Our expenses are down because we haven't had a secretary, and I think we're doing financially. We're going to be turning money back to the general fund, which I'm sure they're all going to love. So.
All right. And then we have, it looks like 3 applications for pesticides. And did anybody have any comments on any of them? Let's see, what was the first one?
Melcher Pond.
Melcher Pond, yep. Amsterdam Pond and Opal Pond.
Yeah, Popal, there were 2.
Yeah.
I had a question on the one down on Kent Hollow.
Which
It's just
pond?
that, that's the, is that Anderson?
Amsterdam.
Yeah, Amsterdam Pond. That hits the natural diversity database, and there is the letter that's in there from, what's her name? I was just reading it. Now it's like buried. Oh my goodness. That they actually wanted them to stop the draw on this.
They wanted them to what?
They
Stop the
wanted them
flow?
to stop the flow
Yeah.
because of that. Here it is. To prevent impacts to the state species habitat in the adjacent wetland and riparian areas, we recommend holding back water flow following treatment. So I think when I send out that, because for each one of these pesticide letters, I do applications, I send out a letter that we had discussed a couple of years ago about some of the alternatives to using the chemicals. But I'll put that in this letter that, in that letter that based on the information supplied from the DEEP, they are asking that in order to prevent the impacts, and then I'll quote what Karen Zyko says in that pesticide letter, just so that the property owner is also aware.
All right, just one other thing I noticed in here too. It's under site information number 15. Are there any downstream users of the water who may be affected by treatment? They said no.
I don't.
Doesn't that all flow into that whole marsh area, which is the headwaters for the Aspetuck?
I'm not so sure that looking at the picture that the pond flows into that stream. I think it's the other way around.
Okay.
It's hard to tell from the map. I was just wondering that too.
Well, we ought to know that, right?
Well, it looks like there's an exhaust from the pond on the left-hand side of the picture. Looks
Is
like
that
it
the
make
intake or is that the outtake?
Well, I don't know.
That's
Could
what's
be
hard to
either way.
tell.
Yeah. It looks like the water should be flowing into the brook on the right.
Should be, but I think we need to know that.
I would think so.
Does this show up on our water map, Donna, our wetlands map?
You know what? I did not look.
Because that should show topography too, right?
Yeah.
Which would give us a sense of which way it's flowing, maybe, right?
Well, there's a topo map as part of this package, page, whatever it is, 13 or something. It's in a flat, and I know where it is. It's in a pretty flat valley. It's hard to tell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think, well, no, I don't know.
Well, if I'm reading the gradient lines properly, it looks like it would be flowing towards the brook.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you look at the pond, you can see how it's narrow at the pond and then it widens out just like a river or a brook would do.
Which,
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry, I got interrupted. Which map or which of
Yeah.
the,
well, from the pond, if you look at the
no, which of the
exhaust
three properties are we looking at? I'm just
Amsterdam.
coming back to the conversation. Sorry.
Amsterdam
area,
Pond,
Amsterdam.
and we're looking at the actual topo map, which is included.
Yeah, the topo map shows the brook below the pond.
Hang on a second.
Yeah, it does. Kinda.
It's flat there. It's really flat there.
Yeah.
Okay, so this goes back to, they said they could stop the outflow
Hmm.
during treatment. And
Right.
I think that's an important part of this whole thing because of
Yes.
what that all feeds into.
Yep.
Agreed.
Well,
And that
how
one
long-
said go.
How long would that stop be? I mean, that if they put that stuff in, it must last for some period of time.
Depends on the chemical.
Interesting.
It says holding back water following treatment. Holding back water for how long following treatment? That's a good question.
Right.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
Because if they put this stuff in the pond and then they have a big rainfall right after, it's going to exhaust into the brook.
Yeah.
So be diluted if that's the case.
True.
But.
Not that I ever want to be the proponent of a chemical, but
What are they using?
That's what I was just looking for.
pretty extensive cocktail.
They are using, oh gosh, there's a bunch of them. And I don't know what their half-lives are at all. Wow.
And I can send an email to Karen and ask her if she could be a little bit more specific with regard to how long the recommendation is to hold back the water following treatment.
Right.
And
And then if this is going to be more than one treatment, would it be applicable to each treatment?
Mm-hmm.
And is Karen part of the pesticide approval process or the natural diversity database team?
She's the natural database. That's my understanding. That's who she's with.
So
The natural
who is
diversity database. It was Valerie Bodner.
Yeah, but
Oh, right.
is she still there? Is she still there?
I don't remember. I think she said it was some, I think at one point in time she was saying she was getting ready to retire. Whether or not she
Yeah.
actually did, I don't know.
It might be difficult to find, number one, to try to reach her and find out who's going to be taking her place. And number two, if she's issued a permit for this, did she issue it with that caveat, and for how long would they be holding back the water flow? I think that is all really important. This is called Amsterdam Pond,
Right.
and that's because the name of the owner is Mark Amsterdam.
Mhm.
All right, so that's not much.
It looks like 6 different chemicals, most of which have 3 applications. So that's,
Yeah,
I'm
What's
reading
a
this
three,
right.
is that because this is a 3-year permit or no? Or is it 3 per
Oh,
annum?
good point. Sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
think that through.
Did
My
you
head
read
is-
the letter that accompanied this from the Environmental Protection?
Yeah,
From
that's what
Karen
we're
Zico?
yeah, that's what we were just talking about,
Yeah,
where she says hold back the water flow
yes.
after application. Actually, I would think you'd want to hold it back before you apply it. But I think these are all good questions. For how long? And is it after each application? I'm assuming it's after each application. Because that's what she says, right? Hold back after each
Yes.
application. Yeah. So we've got a few concerns, Donna. You're going to let the landowner know in any event in the letter, but it would be good, like you said, to clarify with Karen how long the flow should be held back for, and maybe find out from your contact in the permit office, Wagner, if she's still around, or if somebody's going to be taking her place, and if so, who? She may not know, but is there going to be somebody in the office? I mean, I hope so. Who knows?
I think she had somebody that she was training, but I have to go back
Okay.
in my emails because I saved all of them. So I can go back and
Okay.
see what the thread was. And I'll let you
Okay.
know.
All right. Were there any issues with the other two? Belcher Pond on Macedonia Brook Road. You know, I actually don't have a map with that one. Or with the other one.
Yeah, I don't have one. I guess the map only comes if it goes to the natural database, diversity database.
Okay. I'm not familiar with either of these. Are you guys? Anybody else?
No.
No, I'm looking for them now.
Melcher Pond, actually, it's they received a permit back in 2019.
I'm gonna say, we've done it before, but I don't remember anything about it.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Is the outflow usually flowing? Yes. Can it be stopped? No.
This is the Melcher one.
Yeah.
It doesn't give a specific address, so.
Oh, just looking for that.
It says it flows to Bog Hollow Brook.
Well, it
That's
probably does. Because Macedonia Brook goes underneath, doesn't it? Doesn't it go
Yeah.
underneath 341?
Yep.
And then
Yep.
it's Bog Hollow.
for Bog Hollow.
I can't picture where it is. It says Macedonia Brook Road.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm trying to see something that drains across the street. I'm not seeing.
because as you're driving Macedonia Brook Road, you go over a bridge. And I think it flows out in between the new Kent school property and that little, almost the historic home on the right-hand side. And then down along 341 and then out behind the ice rink.
So
Yeah,
that's
no,
not-
I don't see any ponds on Macedonia Brook Road that would drain into Bog Hollow Brook before they got to
Right,
Macedonia
right.
Brook. There's nothing
Yeah.
here. It's just on this corner lot.
Yeah, I don't know how it would get into Bog Hollow.
Yeah.
No, that definitely, Macedonia Brook goes right into, through the Kent School campus and out into the Housatonic.
Yeah. Like I said, I can't picture a pond there.
I'm looking at the satellite view. There's no pond here.
Well, it'd be nice if we had some clarification on that,
Yeah, like where is it?
South?
like a map.
Right.
Which pond are we talking about? Melcher?
We don't know. We don't know, Ken.
Melcher,
Oh,
Melcher Pond.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I've got a pounding headache right now. Not thinking clearly.
I don't have any pictures of this one.
Nope.
It does say it's off Macedonia Brook Road, not Macedonia Road. I'm at a loss.
It says Macedonia Brook Road.
Yeah.
Is it way up? Way up? Way into the park?
Well, then
'Cause I know we,
it can't be because it says it drains into Bog Hollow Brook. Oh. They lie.
well, yeah, something's wrong there. It's Macedonia Brook Road. Where, what page of this application does it say Bog Hollow? I just saw it somewhere.
Bottom of very last line of page 5.
Yeah, it's
Question
question
eight.
number 8.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
I don't even have anybody with that property owner's name,
Wow. That's weird.
because I just went out to look and check to see. I was switching another way.
Applicant's name is Life Lakes Incorporated.
What's the pond that's way up in?
That's Olivier.
No. let's
Isn't
see.
that 121 or 103 Macedonia? There's that pond on Olivier. Is there another one further up?
No. I was thinking, I was way off. I was thinking of the, what is it, Hilltop Pond that's up by Weber Road?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
No.
that's Hilltop all the way at the top of Macedonia
Yeah.
Park.
What's, oh no, those are trees. I'm doing the same thing Ken did. I'm on Google Earth.
There's no mistaking it. It's all lawn. There's no pond there. It's not even that you're missing it if it's in the shadow of the trees. The only trees there line the two brooks.
Well, there's a pond. I see a couple of ponds now. Where am I?
It's a lousy application without having the proper address and
Well,
so forth on it.
What's the one that used to be Jim Aiken's property? It's got a long, long, long drive up. Ken, where are you? It's farther in from Fuller Mountain Road. It's on the left.
Show what I'm looking at.
We went up there once with Bill Case was doing
Yeah,
something.
that's Olivier.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Yeah.
That's okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yep.
So this is Bog Hollow Brook here. Coming
Ah.
around, dumping into Macedonia Brook. So the only place
That
you can be on
makes more
Macedonia Brook
sense.
Road is right on the corner of 341. And it's
That
a,
makes, yeah, that makes more sense that Bog Hollow would go into Macedonia.
yeah, it's coming through right here.
Yeah,
And then Macedonia is coming down through this tree line here.
yeah. That makes
So
more sense.
there's no pond here. So what are they nuking with chemicals?
What is this here? Is that a pond or is that wetlands?
Where are you,
What?
Donna?
I don't know if you can see me. If you go right at the corner of Macedonia Brook Road where it veers
I see.
north and to the left.
Yeah, there's nothing there. That's a field.
You
That's
see
a-
the, you see
Okay,
that,
you see where you're at now at that intersection with the arrow? If you follow 341 out, going towards the
Mhm.
New York border, up near
Mhm.
Bog
Mhm.
Pond, Bog Hollow Pond,
Mhm.
up on the Connecticut side, there is a pond up that way.
Yeah, but that's not on Macedonia Brook Road. That's-
No, it's-
Right.
well, you see, 341 is called Macedonia Road.
They may have, maybe
But
they're
it-
confused
Yeah, some, one way or the other, something's not right on this.
on this application. That's right.
That's why I was saying, no, that's Macedonia. They clearly have Macedonia Brook Road.
People
So
get
Right.
confused between Macedonia Brook and Macedonia Road, so,
there's a ton of little ponds along Bog Hollow Brook if you keep following
Right.
341, but
yeah.
I'm not sure.
And if they're saying it flows into Bog Hollow Brook, it's got to be one of those.
Think, but or did they name the brook wrong?
Yeah, well, yeah, they probably got the wrong,
You should see it on the map because it covers an acre, over an acre of land. So it should show up.
yeah, I'm way up into,
Yeah, if you keep going up 341, straight
Yeah.
up at the top of your screen there,
yep. Yeah, Bog Hollow Brook definitely flows south.
there's Bog Hollow Brook.
Yeah,
This is the brook through here. I don't know that. I don't know if that's a pond or if that's a beaver pond. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, there's another
That's-
pond on the other side of 341, up a little further.
Well, that's the
That's
New
a
York
big-
line.
Yeah,
That's
but
a big
no, this
swamp up there.
It's
There's a
definitely in
huge-
Connecticut, because I'm looking at it on, it looks like it's actually in Macedonia, part of the park,
what is?
the pond. Let me see if there's any houses around it. I don't see any road or houses near it.
Anytime.
Nope.
Oh, that big pond?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Weird. I think it's the application that's wrong in at least one place.
Yeah, it has to be.
Well, the fact that we can't find it is enough of a red flag for,
Yep,
right on the Connecticut border, there's a house with a pond that looks to be about that right size.
See a pond here? I just see
And
shadows of trees.
on Bog Hollow Road, Paul? Route 341?
it looks like there's a road that cuts off of it back over onto the Connecticut border.
isn't that gonna bring you up to Appalachian? Where Jim Preston used to live?
Yeah. Ah, I wonder, but that's not in Connecticut. Is it or is it?
It is.
It
Yeah,
is,
that
it is,
is.
it is. Maybe that's it.
Up
I see
here?
it. Yep.
Actually, it looks like there's two ponds.
There are two ponds. Lynn Perry and Michael Hallows lived on one, and Jim Preston lived on the other.
So that bigger house, that was the,
That was Jim Preston's bigger.
Yeah,
Perry's house was a little bit smaller.
right.
Right
That's-
now.
okay, because of it, when I'm looking on, it looks like there is a brook going across.
There is, and it runs down into into the wetlands that then with the pond that turns into Bog Hollow Brook.
Yeah,
But you can also reach, maybe that's what they're doing. If you go up Macedonia Brook Road and then you head up the hill on Chippewa, that's another way to get to that pond. So maybe that's what they meant by being off Macedonia Brook Road. It's not on Macedonia Brook Road, but it's a way to get up there.
well, either way, I think they should clarify the application. They
Yeah.
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
should apply a
Yeah.
map that shows exactly where it is,
Yep,
because we're guessing.
I think we finally figured it out, though.
Yeah,
Have we?
Well, we've got the name of the owner also, and I wonder how difficult that would be to find on the tax records.
But
I
Donna said,
looked, there is no such owner.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say that already?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
I was searching on my phone until I looked up and realized I had much better pictures in front of me. There's no such owner. Well, that's weird too.
Right, I mean, it could be an LLC. You know, so I will send, I think I might actually call Life Lakes and just
Yeah.
ask them for clarification on
that's a
this.
good idea.
Good idea.
That's all.
But still, the fact that the application is impossible for local people who are familiar with the community to find the pond, that's not good either.
Right,
And the state ought to be alerted to that.
right.
I'm almost afraid to ask, but what about Popo Pond?
I've spoken to her on the phone. But I've never been to that property, so I have no idea. There's no outlet for the ponds, what it says.
I was just looking at that. It says, is the outflow usually flowing? No. Can the outflow be stopped? Yes.
Now, how can it be stopped if it's not flowing?
If
I
it
just-
rains enough,
Twilight Zone.
I just Googled Melcher Pond. And somebody named Melcher had a house off Chippewa Road, but there's no pond on that property that I can see.
yeah, I did the same.
But he probably owned that, maybe he owned the whole mountaintop, I don't know. He get some sort of venture capitalist.
Oh, great.
Comes up on the weekends when the grass is the greenest from all the fertilizer.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, the other one as well, a site map would be,
I can at least find 320 Kent Cornwall Road. There's a couple ponds on the property.
Wait a minute. April Benasich. Isn't that the one that
Yeah.
That's it.
that's-
April
That's it.
Benasich and James Melcher decided to buy this property in Kent, Connecticut as soon as they took in the view from the deck. This is something in the Wall Street Journal in 2018. So we got the connection up there somehow. So that's,
so did they buy Jim Preston's house?
I bet.
oh, I bet they did. I'm looking at a picture of the property yeah, that's Jim's house. in the
So
Wall
it's
Street
not-
Journal.
because it
It's
says
not on
additional
that.
information, contact person, April Ann Benesich.
Right,
Yeah, it's an April Benasich and James Melcher bought the property in 2018.
And I think it's back on the market again, but that's
Yeah, I've seen this
here nor
ad.
there. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's got to be under an LLC and it's Chippewa and it's not Macedonia Brook Road.
But
It
it's,
looks like
that-
it's JLAA LLC.
JL.
ALAA LLC. Where'd you find that? It's in the
Google.
app. Google.
God,
you
just
go.
Google is just so awesome, isn't it?
Scary.
It is scary. That's right.
Chippewa.
Gosh.
yeah, it's on North Pasture Road, off Chippewa Road, which is off Macedonia Brook Road.
Wow.
So
I mean,
the
someone
address is wrong then.
knows that.
Good detective work, guys.
Well, now I just
Yeah.
saw something else that popped up, the regular meeting of the Inland Wetlands Commission, March 26, 2019. Was requested it be confirmed whether Melcher Pond, I've got to get, that's just what it comes up in Google. I got to open it now. Here we are, the minutes of the minutes of the March 25th, 2019 Inland Wetlands meeting. We were all there.
Oh, great.
Um,
That was a long time ago, guys. The whole world has changed twice since then, right? Right?
It has. Not quite come around
Hey.
full circle, but it's close.
Brian Neff was at that meeting too.
Poor Brian.
Poor Brian. He earns every penny he gets.
Mhm.
Communications written 7.8.2 permit application for the use of pesticide in state waters, Melcher Pond, Macedonia Brook Road.
Well, my goodness, we're smarter now than we were then. That's all I can say.
Well, it was requested that it be confirmed whether the Melcher Pond application is for Macedonia Road or Macedonia Brook Road. The state will be notified of this error. Oh, my God.
We just go around in circles.
So now that we wasted another half hour trying to figure this out,
Uh-huh.
clearly the state doesn't care.
They don't. You know, and it's really very sad because I did at one point in time have a very long conversation with Valerie Bodner and said, what's the deal with these? And she's like, Donna, there is nothing that you guys can do about these, nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
And she said, don't even drive yourself crazy. She said, if you want to send us emails,
Where was this advice a half an hour ago?
just making you earn your living.
Thanks, Donna.
But no, I've said this a number of times where she's like, just don't even really bother. But
Yeah.
I think she appreciates the fact that you guys look at them, because from what she has said in the past is that other commissions just don't really pay attention to it. So
Well, and I think there have been one or two instances when we've been able to make a difference, you know, when they've,
yes,
I think there was one on the Aspetuck. I don't remember the others, but
Oh,
anyway,
there's been times, like when they said, you know, nobody uses this and we're all, and you're like, wait a minute, people swim in there with their dogs all the time.
Right,
There's a,
right.
now there's a
Right.
boat launch there.
Yeah.
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 but now that we
think
know this, or we've been reminded of this, can I go to bed? My head
Did you
hurts so
guys wanna-
much.
Did you guys want to look at this Bopal one or no?
What's the issue? I'm sorry.
It's just the Bopal pond. I don't want to go down a road here. I'm not familiar with it.
Let's see.
Where the hell is it?
She's on Kent Cornwall Road.
Yeah,
Number
that's,
7?
Oh,
yeah,
Ken,
there's two ponds in the backyard. They really don't look like they drain anywhere.
Ken Dietz said something about that a while ago.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
almost half an hour. We're not keeping score.
And around we go.
Here you go.
So
So
if we're
true.
done, is there anything else that we want to talk about? And anything come before the commission verbally? Other than this, okay. And so we can,
Make a motion to adjourn?
So
Yes, sir.
moved.
yay,
Seconded.
okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
All
Thank
right.
you, guys.
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Good
That
night.
was
Good night.
fun.
Good night,
A little
everybody.
note- A
It
little
was fun.
note,
You guys.
I can't be here. I'm gonna be out of town next month.
And so is Marge.
But I don't know if I'm gonna have, I might be able to get in contact via the internet down in Texas. I don't know what kind of accommodations I'll have there yet.
All right,
But
well, and I
I can
know-
I'll let you know before the meeting time anyway.
okay, and Marge will not be available either, and that's the 28th of March.
The 28th. So, Tony, will you be there?
Yes.
Definitely. Okay. And Paul, will you be there? Definitely.
I'm pretty sure. I'll take a look at my calendar right now.
All right. Ken Dietz, will you be there?
Yes, I will be there.
Yeah,
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ken. Okay, so we'll definitely have a quorum, and let's make sure Hillary knows as well, in case one of us gets sick. All right?
Yep.
Okay, so I think we voted,
Oh.
right? We're gonna
We
adjourn,
did.
right?
We're done.
yeah, we're
It's
done.
all
all.
over.
Good
It's
night.
all
Great.
over. Good night, all.
Good
Good night.
night.
Good night.
Night.